everybody! Welcome to another round of Inspirational Thursday. Good morning. My name is Liz and I'm here on behalf of Class Act to do some creating with you. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. Today I'm going to be working with the Hunkydory luxury topper sets. Specifically this one here, it is called a Sweet Christmas. But I just wanted to kind of give some of you a breakdown of how these work. I know a very common question we get at the store is like, oh, how do these work? You see, the name topper. You see some beautiful images in the corner of creations that Hunkydory has made. And typically it says somewhere that this makes at least 2 cards, which is absolutely true. So our goal today is to push it, see how many cards we can actually create with this specific paper pack, and just kind of show you some ideas if you ever purchase one of these for how to use it. And we'll go from there. So, hi Sandra. Both Sandras, how are you guys? Okay, so I'm just going to set this off to the side. It does come in a lovely little package, which I went ahead and took it out of the package because curiosity gets to me and I just wanted to see like what is in this. So, starting off, we have this beautiful sheet of like punch out toppers. It does have things like little tags and little phrases, and then some cute little snowmen, gingerbread men, hot cocoa. So exciting. Sneaking out to watch during meetings. I love it. Then we have this page here. So this, I want to say it's 8.5 by 11. Maybe it's a little longer. I'm just going to measure. So it's 12 inches by about 8 1/4. So we have this sheet here. It's got 2 adorable little gingerbread men in the corners. And last but not least, included in this kit is this adorable snowman, plaid red background, which I think is beautiful. Then I got nervous that I might not have enough, depending on how many cards I make. So I also pulled some pattern cardstock, some solid cardstock, just to like zhuzh things up a little bit. So that is what's going on with this. And then I needed some card bases. So we're just going to make those really quickly. It's a good review for some of you who are like new to the idea of card making. So the first thing I like to do when I'm making cards is just the traditional A2 card that opens this way. So how do I do this? I take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, fold it in half, as I like to call the hot dog fold, because it's long, and then I trim it at 5.5 inches. So then I get 2 card bases that are 4 1/4 by 5.5. Beautiful, and they just open like this. Easy peasy. Another really fun way to make card bases is if you take your 8.5 by 11 paper and hamburger fold it. So you just fold it in half, but it's a little bit thicker. Instead of folding it lengthwise, you're folding it widthwise. And again, I am going to just trim it at the 4 1/4 inch mark, and I will end up with 2 wonderful card bases here. And then these ones actually open this way. So they're gonna stand vertically. Very, very fun. So I like having options. And then I think the last one I'm going to try to create today is going to be a slimline, because as soon as I saw this little panel here, I'm like, I'm just going to cut this and that's going to make a gorgeous card front. So traditionally slimlines are about 3.5 inches. So again, I took my 8.5 by 11, I folded it in half lengthwise, and I'm just going to trim at the 3.5 inch mark. Get rid of this extra, set it aside, and I'm going to open up my trimmer. 3 by 5 and then 8 by 5. So I'm going to trim it at the 8.5 inch mark. And that is one of my favorite sort of slimline sizes. But then I end up with something like that. So now already we have made 5 card bases, which I think was my goal, is to make like 5 beautiful cards using this paper. So far so good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull out the toppers and see like how I want to sort of split things up. So the really great thing about these is you just carefully punch everything out. So no scissors required for this, no fussy cutting, unless you're really ambitious. So here you will see some of these actually have various layers. So I could use this gold frame separately. I could use this snowman separately. For the sake of one of the cards, I'm just going to keep him together. I think I'm going to actually kind of keep all of the pieces together, unless I change my mind halfway through. But I'm just going to punch all these out. So that's going to be another card front. I love how, I mean, this one basically directed me how to use it. As soon as I saw everything, it just kind of spoke to me, and it's like, keep these pieces together, use them. And then I love that it has little sort of tags as well. So I'm just going to pop out the hole, maybe grab a pokey tool. There we go. So just punch that out. I'm thinking that obviously has to pair with him. I'm going to use this little embellishment probably on my slimline card. This one is great because it's actually, it doubles as a tag and a sentiment. It says, warm, cozy wishes. So I'm thinking pair it with the little hot chocolate here. This one says, have a sweet Christmas. Very, very sweet indeed. And this one says, mug of festive joy. So now that I've punched out all these, I'm just going to get rid of that. And then I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe pairing it like that. So next thing I want to do is get my slimline sort of figured out. Because then once I cut out what I'm using for the slimline, I can actually figure out what I'm going to use for my card bases. So again, with my paper trimmer, I'm just going to cut this guy out, leaving a bit of a border, and set that off to the side. So I end up with this adorable little snowman. But if you guys recall, the slimline card I cut, it is about 3.5 inches. So I am going to trim this just a little bit on both sides, so it becomes 3.5 inches. Maybe I'll do 3.25 so I can get a little border going. I haven't decided. I'm going to start with 3.5 and see what I think on the card itself. I don't know. I kind of like it just as is. I do have a border on the top and bottom, so deep breath. I'm going to do another little trim so that it becomes 3.25. It'll be fine, I promise. I'm going to trim a little bit on both sides again, just to like keep it somewhat even. There we go. And then, voila, we end up with this beautiful slimline already, and this little embellishment. I feel like that's going to be essentially our first card. However, I just want to see, like, maybe that's a little bit more cute. I think so. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to set that one off to the side. And now, my friends, I have all of this beautiful paper to sort of play around with. So for sure, I want to incorporate this sort of melty chocolate, this sort of gingham as well for a card base. And I know that most of my card bases are A2 card sizes, so 4.25 by 5.5. So I'm going to cut this particular one at 5.25. I'm going to set this scrap off to the side in case I want to use him again. And then I'm going to cut at the 4-inch mark. And that will do at least one beautiful little card base. And I'm thinking, if I flip it around actually, like this, have a sweet Christmas. There we go. Another really, really pretty, simple card. Done. Okay, for my next trick, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. Because here's where I don't know what I want to do. I did notice, actually, on the front of the package, they had this really cute inspiration using the gingerbread man. And one of these tags. So I kind of want to incorporate him somehow. So, we're just going to do it. We're going to make it happen. So first things first, I need to trim the gingerbread man. I'm picking this little guy in the corner here. I could pick either, but this one screams to me, use me. So here we go. I'm going to trim him at the 4-inch mark. And again, our card is 5.5. So I'm going to cut at 5.25 because I like the little white backgrounds. That's just a personal preference. And then I end up with something like this. So I think with him, that's actually kind of adorable as is. Oh no. I wasn't expecting this. Like, how cute is that? Do I or don't I? You know what? I'm going to leave him as is. So there's our third card. My challenge was to make at least 5, but I think we're stretching it already, which is great. So, woohoo. So now I'm thinking, maybe for this little delightful gingerbread man, what do we do here? Maybe this is where I pull in some extra cardstock. So I have this cardstock here. This is a Lawn Fawn cardstock. It's up for pre-order right now. It's from their new release, but here's what it looks like on both sides. And I thought with the peppermint, like, it just goes really nicely with this topper set. So I am going to use this actually to make a little card base for this little guy. So I'm going to cut at 5.25 by 4. And I'm thinking I could use this side or I could use this side. I'm leaning towards this side. So that's kind of pretty. But just to like zhuzh it up and use up these scraps, I might trim. Again, 5.25. I might trim like just a little border with this. I'm thinking maybe, oh gosh, like very skinny. So maybe a 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch border. And I'm thinking of just tucking these on the side just to like make it a little bit more interesting. So there's card number 4. Set him off to the side. And then I have all these scraps, which I have a feeling we're going to pull into another card. Let's see. See what we're working with here. What if we did something like this? Used that topper, maybe that little tag down here. Huh? I like it. Now I could even take it a step further and use this little peppermint down at the bottom, or or we stick it across the middle. Yes, we stick it across the middle. So I'm gonna cut this one to be 4 inches. He's gonna go right in the middle. So I'm keeping my cards fairly simple this time around. And there's nothing wrong with that, actually. So I can sneak out probably, I know I want to use this as a card, but I'm also left over with this piece here. So I'm thinking maybe just cutting that, and then I could use this little gingerbread man once again to create a separate card. And then I also have this paper here. So dare I make this sort of very fancy? I think I dare. So really quickly, gonna fold myself 2 more card bases. And I'm thinking for these ones, I'm just going to hot dog fold my paper. Beautiful. And again, just trim it at the 5.5 inch mark. And I end up with 2 more card bases, providing I don't drop them on the floor. Okay, so next, I need 4 1/4 of this one. And then I see this little detail here. I think I'm going to try to keep that. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5. So it's going to cover the entire card base. Just like that. Then with my leftover hot chocolate, kind of looks like a chocolate bar in the wrapper still. I'm going to add it like this. If you guys are feeling extra brave at home, you could definitely separate these. You could use this arch, for example, pair it with something else, but I kind of like the way these are just progressing naturally. So there's another one. I'm going to set him off to the side, and I will show you guys all of them once I cut this last piece. So then I'm left over with gingerbread man. Just gonna go ahead and trim him down at 5 1/4. And I feel like he needs something. It's too much white. So, what can we do to judge him? Good question, friends. So I do have all of these little leftover pieces. If I don't use them in these cards, I'm going to definitely set them aside in case I decide to use them for something else. I feel like I'm going to have to cut myself another sort of candy cane background. So I'm going to cut 4 1/4. I think no border for him. 4 1/4 by 5.5. Beautiful. And then I'm going to cut actually this one at 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to flip these 2 around. So that's going to be the big card base. That's going to be smaller. And then I'll have our little gingerbread man hiding on here. And I'm almost tempted, because he's our last one. Just move all of them onto the screen before we proceed to tack everything down, just so you guys can have a look at sort of what we've come up with. Hopefully we can see everything. But what I'm thinking is even cutting the gingerbread man, like along here, and separating the 2 pieces. I think that might be fun, because we kept this one intact. So why not try something different? Yes, let's do it. So here I just have my trusty cutter bee scissors. I'm just gonna do a really quick fussy cut along this border. And around our gingerbread friend. So I hope everybody's having a great week so far. Stay strong, it's almost the weekend. We have a crop happening this weekend, a one-day crop. Very, very much looking forward to that. Those are always fun. Great chance to get out and be social. So I'll be doing that on Saturday for sure. Don't know how the rest of my weekend is going to play out, but it's one thing I'm looking forward to. Conrad will be off school for the weekend, which I'm also excited about. So I'm gonna shift these pieces maybe. Do we like that? Is it weird? Maybe, but I kind of like it. Or do I just get rid of this altogether? Maybe I just lose it altogether. I think that looks a little better. So just like that, I challenged myself to create at least 2 cards with this. And somehow we ended up with 7, which is more than I was expecting. So, yeah, maybe you guys can see a little better if I hold it like this for a second. So I hope you guys understand how fun and simple these are actually to work with. All you have to do really is use the like main panels on the front of the pack and then the coordinating paper and maybe add some paper of your own, and you can create some really great looking projects. So this is what we came up with on the fly today. I was really nervous coming into it because I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm happy to give these out to like anybody at Christmas time. So that's a bonus. Then you can take things a step further and always add your own embellishments. You can, you know, if you're really feeling risky, you can add, turn them into shakers, for example. You could punch out the circles and add acetate. I just kind of wanted to keep mine fairly simple. I might go in and add some Class Act bling. This particular one is called Barrel, but I think it picks up some of the colors in this particular Hunkydory topper pack quite beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and tack everything down, embellish it, and then post my final projects very shortly. On that note, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm so happy to come and share with you guys on a Thursday morning. I hope those of you watching on replay enjoy it as well. But thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to play around with me. And I hope you feel inspired to play around with your own supplies. Definitely come check us out, classact.ca. And check out the website if you want to learn more about these and see what we have in stock. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.